All right, well here we go. This is all new for me, so bear with me as I'm figuring all this stuff out. All right, this is Ryan. I am the host of the Rocky Series podcast. As always, it's good to be here, and I'm trying something a little bit new. I don't know what to call this series, but this will go into our audio feed as well for our iTunes and podcast listeners. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to do like a Ryan reacts to Rocky episodes, if that makes sense. So I go on YouTube and I see all these Rocky centric type episodes or videos, and I always, when I watch them, I react to myself. I'm like, I have like comments or criticisms or things I like about it, and I thought, well, why don't I share that with you guys, and you guys can share it with me too. Okay, so the one that I came across here was 9 things you probably didn't know about Rocky. I would assume the Rocky movie, Rocky Part 1. So let's go through it. Let's just go through this. Let's just try this to see if this thing works. All right, am I actually on? Am I actually live? I wonder. We'll find out. Okay, so 9 things you probably didn't know about Rocky. So we're going to start this video, and we're going to see what these 9 things are, and we'll talk about them as they're presented. This was found on the site that this was found on was Cinefix on YouTube, and it's got 1 million views. So I'm sure I haven't even read the comments, so I didn't want to read the comments because I'm sure in the comments section of this YouTube video, people were saying, "Oh, that's wrong" or "That's right." And so I don't know what the 9 things are. I don't know what people said about them. So let's just see if we knew these things about Rocky.
You guys want
to hear something crazy? Rocky, the first one, has its 40th anniversary this week. 40 years. Somewhere out there, Sylvester Stallone is equal parts proud and depressed. Anyway.
Okay, so right away, it's this video is a couple years old because it says this year we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Rocky. We know now in 2019, it's going to be the 43rd anniversary of Rocky, if you can believe it. And then he says that Sylvester Stallone would both be impressed and depressed by that idea. I don't know why he'd be depressed by it. I guess because we all get older, I guess. I don't know. But I think it's an amazing testament and legacy to the franchise that this movie has lasted that long. All right. And then, let's go.
Anyway, here are 9 things you didn't know about Rocky. Probably. The Steadicam is now a widely used piece of equipment in filmmaking, but you may not have known that this shot from Rocky is one of the first uses of the Steadicam ever in film.
Okay, so yeah, the Steadicam was first used in Rocky, and I did not know that this shot was the first shot. So let's just go back and hear that again.
The shot from Rocky is one of the first uses of the Steadicam ever in film, and since it was essentially the prototype, it was clunky as hell. Even worse, it was loud. You could hear all sorts of whirring and grinding from the bolts and washers, and some of that noise made it into the final film if you listen really closely.
Come on, nobody likes garbage.
And for this shot of Rocky's attempt to run the museum...
All right, so I didn't recognize that shot with Little Marie was a Steadicam. I mean, I guess it is. And I think we all think of the Steadicam shot of this one that we're about to see of Rocky running up the steps. So maybe that was the first part of the film that used the Steadicam, but it's my understanding that the scene here with Sylvester Stallone running up the steps is where the Steadicam came into play. So maybe they filmed the running scene first before the Little Marie scene, because obviously running up with a camera, even today, you can't hold your phone camera and be steady about it. So here we go.
Museum steps, the Steadicam battery had actually broken that day, possibly due to how insanely cold it was in Philly. Luckily, Garrett Brown was not only Rocky's Steadicam operator, but he was the guy who invented the Steadicam. He figured out a way to rig it to work on 2 car batteries instead, and they were able to get the shot. And that was, boom, a bonus thing you didn't know, and a perfect segue into our next thing.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't know that. I knew the Steadicam was used for Rocky. It's my understanding that the Steadicam was first used in Rocky, or really used in Rocky, especially for this running sequence up the stairs. How the Steadicam operates and what it was run on and the type of batteries that was used, no, I didn't know that. So, okay. But still, we all knew about the Steadicam, I think.
let's dive into another thing about what is arguably the most memorable motif from Rocky, running up the stairs of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The through line of seeing Rocky unable to charge up the steps earlier to this moment where he's triumphant shows us how hard he's been working and how long he's been training. The thing is, these two shots were not only done on the same day, they were shot just an hour apart from one another. So, if you're ever in Philadelphia and decide to run the steps, if you don't make it on the first try, give it another shot an hour later and you might actually get there. Or, even better, just act like you can't do it on the first try, and then the second go will be extra badass.
All right. Well, I didn't know that. So the scene, well, we know Rocky in any movie is acting, right? Stallone is acting. He's acting tired. He's acting like he's in shape, whatever the case may be. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that scene where he's running up with the cramps that first morning of jogging and he was all tired, and then they waited an hour later to film him being triumphant. I didn't know that. Kind of makes sense because you got all the equipment ready to go. You've got everything there in place. It's an empty stair at the time, and why not film both scenes back to back? Of course, we know that most movies, I would say 90% of movies, are not filmed chronologically, is my understanding. So, yeah, like they're not filmed in the order that we see it in the movie. So they just film scenes when and where they can and whatever makes the most sense financially. So that is one thing I did not know, that was filmed back to back. It makes sense, but I just never thought of it, but I didn't know that.
One more thing about Rocky's run up the stairs, you know his little victory dance afterwards? You're watching.
Okay, before he even says it, I know exactly what he's going to say. Hey, Jerry, how's it going? Welcome. Yeah, I think I know exactly what they're going to say here. He does the dance up in the air and he's cheering and whatever. It's filmed in reverse. I think it's a reverse filming or something like that. It's kind of weird. You'll see it. I'm sure the guy's going to explain it.
The whole thing backwards. They'd originally shot it while zooming out, but later on the director wished he'd shot it with a zoom in. So they just played the shot in reverse to make it work. Once you know that, you can kind of sense that his movements are slightly odd, right? And thanks to us, you'll now notice it forever and ever. Every single time you watch Rocky, which I assume is like 2 or 3 times a week.
Well, I don't watch Rocky 2 or 3 times a week, but I've seen it many, many times. So there's definitely one thing I knew was that number 3. So number 1, I knew about the Steadicam. Number 2, I did not know about the filming order. 3, I definitely knew about the Steadicam. Let's see what number 4 brings.
You know what else they shot backwards? The fight. But this isn't backwards in the same way as they shot at the museum. They shot the fight with Apollo Creed starting at the end of the fight, working backward to the start. They did it this way because the makeup took the longest to do. It was much more efficient to do all the special effects makeup with Rocky at his worst, and then just remove the makeup as they went backwards through the fight sequences. This also allowed them to shoot out all the scenes with the paid extras in just one day, which saved money. Something that the production definitely didn't have. Next thing.
Okay, so number 4 was, I knew that they filmed, it's my understanding with the boxing matches at all the Rocky films, I think they filmed the boxing near the beginning of the filming because everyone's so jacked and they want to keep their fitness and form. So they filmed the last fight near the beginning of all the films, is my understanding. Again, I'd never thought about or knew about the makeup being applied first, that they would apply all the makeup, and because it takes a lot of time, they filmed the makeup or the end rounds first, and then they filmed the beginning rounds last. So I admit I didn't know that at all. So again, it makes sense in the filming world. So this is 9 things you probably didn't know about Rocky, though they're getting me on a couple. I guess it's more about the filming of things. I thought it was going to be more on the film itself or scenes, whatever. It's all good. I'm learning, and I've been covering Rocky for like 100 plus episodes, so I'm learning lots here. All right.
Yeah, we'll make some money real soon, huh? Yeah, $1 million.
A lot of people don't realize that Rocky was a very low-budget film because it's gone on to be such a huge deal.
I think most people know that it was low budget, guerrilla style shot here. Jerry, he says that he knew this well regarding, I think probably, I don't know, what are you referring to there, Jerry? Sorry. He says here, Jerry says that you can, I'm sure, know there's a ton of empty seats in the background, too, on the makeup close-ups. Yeah, I noticed that, too, when you watch this movie many times. You notice that the extras, which there weren't any because they can't afford them, there was nobody in the crowd when they're doing like the close-in fight sequences because they can't afford having all those people. And it doesn't make sense to have that many people just watching filming day after day after day. I even think with the new Creed movies, a lot of it's like CGI green screen. Like you see some of the behind the scenes film, and they have a green screen behind Creed and Drago. So even today, they can't afford and have thousands of extras just in the background for days and days.
The producers had a deal in place with United Artists where they could make any movie they wanted so long as it was under $1 million. The producers then made a deal with Sylvester Stallone, which said that if he wrote the script for nothing, he could star in the film. I'm not even sure that's illegal, but anyway, Rocky's producers...
Okay, let's go back here for a second. So there's a few things this guy is talking about here. He first mentioned... Let's go back.
A lot of people don't realize that Rocky was a very low-budget film because it's gone on to be such a huge deal. The producers had a deal in place with United Artists where they could make any movie they wanted so long as it was under $1 million.
So we know, I think Rocky 1 was like $900,000 the film. So pretty good budget considering how much money it made.
The producers then made a deal with Sylvester Stallone, which said that if he wrote the script for nothing, he could star in the film.
Okay, so here's the point of contention that maybe even a lot of people have. There's been a debate out there that the story that we hear from Stallone and other people about him with the producers didn't really happen the way they said it happened. But the long story short is, and this guy's oversimplifying it, I think, the individual here on the YouTube video. Basically, they didn't know who Sylvester Stallone was. They liked the producers of the film, liked his script, they liked what they saw. They wanted to do something with it, but they didn't want Sylvester Stallone to start it because he didn't look very Hollywood, and he didn't have a resume that they thought they could put money behind. And the idea is that Stallone said, look, this script means a lot to me. If I can just star in it, I don't care about the money. That's kind of what we're hearing here.
I'm not even sure that's illegal, but anyway, Rocky's producers also set it up with United Artists that if they did go over that $1 million cap, they'd have to pay any overages out of their own pocket.
That's probably pretty common in any movies. If a producer feels really good about a project, they're willing to front their own cash. And I've heard of investors in films that bomb. They lose money. So, I mean, movies is a business, like any business, right? You're there to make money. And when you have producers and executive producers, basically funding a movie, and the movie bombs, these people who paid out of their pocket, they lose money. So this was a gamble. Back in the day, this was a gamble.
Put this in your glove.
What's this?
$500. Don't worry about it.
Being strapped for cash is how they wound up with this Hertz truck in the shop.
Oh, look at that.
That was the production gear truck. But they were so broke and pressed for time at the location, they straight up forgot to move it. Boom.
Okay, so there's a Hertz truck in the background. See that there? Would anyone even think that was part of the film crew? Isn't Hertz just like a rental truck company? To me, it looks like it fits in Philadelphia, though you do have these safety pylons around it. Fair enough. I don't think that really matters, but sure.
Bonus thing. Mind you, the studio did essentially try to bribe Stallone with an offer of $250K to just sell them the Rocky script, but that would risk the movie never getting made, and it would more or less guarantee he'd never get to star in it. Despite being totally broke at the time, Stallone decided to take the shittier deal so he could star in Rocky, which clearly paid off in the long run.
Let's stick this face on a stamp. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm not too sure what that number 5 was about, just about the budget issue. I knew most of all that stuff. The film was a gamble. Stallone was a gamble. Everything was a gamble regarding the finances, but it paid off. Okay, I knew that one. There we go. Number 6.
Stallone could have never guessed that Rocky would go on to be the cultural icon it became, but he had a really good reason for rolling the dice and passing on that $250K script deal.
You guessed it. Frank Stallone.
Well, not really, but Frank Stallone is in the movie.
Yeah, he is in the movie. Is that what this number 6 is? Okay, we'll find out.
Cameo he definitely would never have gotten if Sly had sold the script. Here he is in this singing group on the corner, and then here he is again being insulted by his big brother.
Hey, the bum from the dock. Get a job, you bum.
Oh,
Get a job, you bum. That's kind of funny. 40 years later, it rings true. No, I'm just joking. I don't want Frank to... I'd love for Frank to come on our show one day, and Sly for that matter. But that's just brothers chucking crap at each other. It's good stuff. Good stuff. And if number 6 is about Frank being in the movie, I think we all knew that.
Oh, and another quick bonus thing. That's Frank Stallone Sr., their dad, on the bell at the fight. So
Yeah, we all knew that. Look at that, eh? So you can see, it's crazy to see, but you can kind of see Sylvester Stallone turn it into his father here, eh? Look at that. That's crazy. That's wild.
many bonus things.
Okay, so number 6 we all knew. Frank and Frank Stallone Sr. were both cameos in Rocky Part 1. And we know that he had later family members, of course, be in further films.
Moving on to the film's final scene after the fight, you probably didn't know that a good chunk of it was shot 2 months after production had wrapped. They had to reshoot these parts because the movie originally ended with Rocky walking out of the ring. Later, Stallone...
Oh yeah, so there's this footage, and I would love to see this footage one day, and I don't think we can. Apparently there was a fire that destroyed some footage, but there was and you've seen the movie shots of Rocky and Adrian walking hand in hand with Rocky still in his like fight outfit, walking out of the arena. So it's unfortunate that we'll never see that we'll never see that deleted scene of him leaving the ring. I think the movie ends perfectly because this movie is perfect. All in all, it's a perfect film. I think the movie ends perfectly with them hugging each other, saying "I love you." But it would have been kind of cool to see that film sequence of him leaving the ring with Adrian. What are your thoughts? Hey Baz, yeah, two brothers chucking crap at each other. Sounds familiar. Yeah, that's me and my brother for sure. All right, there we go.
Stallone felt strongly that the end had to be changed to him still being inside the ring with Adrian on a freeze frame. So all these close-up shots inside of the ring were done as pickups, and they only had about 30 extras available. Everyone you see in these shots is everyone they had. All of the extras were friends, family, pretty much anyone who was available. The only parts from the original ending are the wide shots where you can actually see the crowd in the arena. Next thing.
All right, I knew that. So I did know number 7. I knew that there was another ending that was filmed, and I knew that they had to redo this ending. I didn't know it was 2 months after the original production, but I knew that it was still done after they already filmed the ending, and that they were strapped for extras, so they just had everyone they could be in that sequence. So that's pretty cool. What are your thoughts? Are you happy with the original ending, or would you like to have seen them walking out of the ring together hand in hand? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
This scene with Apollo Creed was another penny-pinching opportunity. They shot this in Irwin Winkler's office. He was one of Rocky's
I knew that. I knew that this was shot in Irwin Winkler's office. I think we talked about that in season 1 of our show when we covered Rocky 1. So, yep, cool.
Producers, so they were able to save some dough by using his real office at MGM.
Very American.
No jiggers. Very smart.
Initially, the team was concerned that his first-floor office windows would be a dead giveaway that they were on a studio lot and not in Philadelphia.
Oh, who would know that? Who would actually watch this movie, even back then, and see the outshot of those windows and even think that this was somebody's real office and make a big deal about it? That's a astute look, or astute eye back then, but anyways.
Then they realized that they were on a freaking studio lot and had access to all the backdrops they could possibly want. So they flipped through the backdrops and picked the one that you see here to hang outside the window.
Okay, so I knew this was Irwin Winkler's office, but I didn't know that they changed the backdrop. Sure, sounds good.
Sure, it totally looks like a backdrop, especially now that we're drawing your attention to it, but come on, suspend your disbelief.
That's pretty good.
Jerks.
I don't know, it looks fine to me.
Okay, so we made a big thing about the stair scene earlier, but this shot with the one-arm push-ups and the clapping push-ups is also pretty iconic. What most people don't know is this shot only came about because they were running out of exercises for Rocky to do in the training montage. They had miles upon miles of him running through the streets of Philadelphia, shopping malls, everywhere. They just pull up in a van with the camera and have Stallone start running. Most of that footage didn't make it into the film, though, because it would have been too monotonous to just watch him running for 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, it would have been. Imagine just watching Sylvester Stallone run for 20 minutes. I mean, I love Rocky, but the training montage, as it's cut up, is beautifully done. So I'm glad we didn't just see him running for 20 minutes.
So they came up with this scene with the push-ups. Sylvester Stallone had never done one-arm or clapping push-ups before that day. So, good job not breaking your face on your first try, dude.
So I didn't know that. I didn't know that that this was Sly's. The first day of filming these sequences was his first time trying one-arm push-ups and hand clap push-ups or whatever you called it. So good for him. Yeah, it's good.
Although I guess we did get a good dose of that happening later on in the movie. That's it for us today. Hopefully you learned something from our 9 things plus bonus things today. And good luck getting the Rocky theme music out of your head because it's totally stuck in mine. Thanks for watching.
All right, so there we go. That was a fun little exercise. I don't know what you guys think. So 9 things you probably didn't know. I think I knew right off the bat 5 or 6 of those 9 things. I can't remember now. I can't remember the count. But for sure, I knew most of them, and the ones that I didn't know were they were interesting. I give credit to this guy. Who's this guy? I mean, he's got 1 million views, certainly more views than I'll ever get on my channel. This is Cinefix, and some of the comments are The scene where Rocky's running through the market and one guy is throwing an apple after him and Rocky caught it, that scene was not scripted. It just happened and they kept it in the movie. Yeah, I did know that. Somebody says here, definitely in my top 10 movies. Sure. All right, so there you go. More people just giving trivia that most of us know. So that was pretty good. Cinefix, that was pretty good. You dug deep there to find things that we probably didn't know. So thanks for watching this episode, I guess. I don't know. We'll see if this will make the iTunes cuts. I don't know. We'll see if there's any real interest in this. So I also just wanted to try the live streaming option that, yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about my stuff because Ruben and I are recording episode 101 tonight. And we're going to be doing Rocky 5. So with the same setup, we're going to have Rocky 5 on the backdrop. And Ruben and I are going to talk to Rocky 5. We're going to start talking about Rocky 5 tonight. So look for that video if you're seeing this video later. So thanks for watching and participating. And stand by for more videos like this. Talk to you later.